Hey guys, in today's video, I am ranking all of the eyeshadow palettes that I've tried out in 2025 thus far. We are halfway through the year and I have not posted an eyeshadow palette ranking yet. So here it is. I have 20 eyeshadow palettes to rank in today's video. Now these are palettes that I feel comfortable ranking. That means that I have tried them out to a certain degree where I have definitely gathered my thoughts and opinions on these palettes. Also released in 2025, but I did decide this time around to include for the very first time some palettes that I left in 2024 that were also released in 2024 that, I did not get around like using them last year. So I made the decision to include them in today's video. There are only a few, I think maybe three or something like that, not a lot, but I just thought, why not rank them, tell you a little bit about them and give you my opinion on them. Most of these palettes are also featured on my channel. Some of them were featured in some longer format videos, and most of them though are featured as short videos over here on my shorts tab. So if you end up enjoying today's video, please don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and also ring the bell in order to get notified about more content. And I will say, as per usual with these kinds of rankings, this is just my personal taste. It's just my personal preference, None of the palettes that I have in today's video were of mediocre quality. There is nothing necessarily wrong with them, to the point where I would say, please don't buy them. I feel like the quality is overall really, really good. Sometimes these videos do give me some headaches, but I made up my mind, and please do let me know in the comment section below too if you have tried out any of these palettes that I'm featuring in today's video. What are your thoughts on them? Would you have ranked them differently? You guys know I'm always really, really curious to know your opinion on the product, so I would be looking forward to hearing from you. So without no further ado, I would say let's get this video rolling, and let's start off at the bottom. Somebody has to go last, and this is not necessarily a bad palette, but compared to everything else that I have in this ranking, this just falls short just a little bit. So my number 20 spot is gonna go to Wonder Beauty, and this is the In Neutral eyeshadow palette. So here is the palette. I will say this was not the first time that I've tried out Wonder Beauty. I do have a couple of their older palettes, but it's been a while since I've actually used their formula. This time around, I did have some issues with this formula in particular. So let's have a quick look inside. So this palette comes with 10 different shades. We've got 4 shimmer shades and then 6 matte shades. However, you guys may know I do enjoy neutral eyeshadow palettes. That's why I also purchased them, because I honestly love a good neutral eyeshadow palette. Now, the thing that I really do enjoy about Wonder Beauty and also about this palette is the matte formula. I feel like these mattes are so buildable, they are so blendable, they are silky smooth, they are really, really, really pretty. The one thing that really made this palette rank last is the fact that these shimmers are kind of like a downgrade to when you compare them to their older Wondrous Escape eyeshadow palette, for example. I feel like these shimmers are so lackluster, and this formula, it is so creamy, yet it really does not have any shine to it. It's not impactful. It just looks really flat on the eyelids. I mean, only the shimmers. They were so creamy, and I did not really enjoy that, And then another thing that I don't necessarily love about this palette is the fact that these tones are just a little bit strange. I don't think that these tones make too much sense when you look at them. I feel like this palette is trying to do so much in terms of undertones, and yet it's not given anything. Also these shimmers, some of these shimmers looked so similar. I wished I could have been a proper taupey or brown shimmer in a better formula, okay? But the tones were all very golden. There are only 4 shimmers, and 3 out of them look kind of like gold, and most of them also look like antique rusty gold. And there is only this one, which I think this is the prettiest shimmer in here. So I don't know, I was just a little bit disappointed in this, but I will say they've got a beautiful, silky, blendable matte formula. It's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, there are so many palettes that have like worse quality than this, but it's just the one that does not inspire me that much. So unfortunately, I had to rank this at the last spot, although it's not like, a complete fail. Let's put it that way. Next one up is actually something that disappoints me a little bit. Like, this brand did disappoint me so far in 2025. I don't know. I never thought that I would rank any of their palettes so low. So unfortunately, this is by Blend Bunny, and this is the plastic eyeshadow palette. Blend Bunny, you guys know, I love their formula. I almost have all of their eyeshadow palettes. So of course, I'm always purchasing their products because I'm always curious. I always want to know, is this going to work for me? Even though it might not be my favorite color story in the world. And I feel like that's kind of like the issue when it comes to this palette. Now, what I really enjoyed about this palette is that this is the very first time that Blend Bunny is giving us a smaller eyeshadow palette with 12 shades. And this is an equal ratio of matte tones and shimmer shades. Now, this color story is a little bit unexpected. I gotta be honest, when I saw this online, I really thought I could do a lot of looks with this. And then when I got it and I had it in my hands in real, I was a little bit lost. I really felt a little bit like confused when I got it, and I was kind of struggling to create some looks. I mean, I will say I did create one really, really pretty look with this shade right here and with the blue. I really loved it. But then, I'm kind of stuck with a lot of like these warmer shades here, which I mean, I saw the color story before I purchased it. Sometimes, I'm just always hopeful that I can kind of create something that I like, but with this, it was a little bit harder. I also felt like that this shade right here and this shade, although they don't look anything alike in the pan on my eyes, they literally looked almost the same. I mean, I knew I would not like these two. Like these two, this hot pink and this one, it's just kind of like more of a satin shade. It does not have this beautiful sparkle to it. And also, I thought that this would be like a deep brown. Turns out it's really red. Like, it's a really warm red shade. So this entire color story pulls too warm, too pinky for me. It's good quality. It's just the color story that was just a little bit like weird to me personally. All right, so let's move on to number 18 in my ranking. So this is by ColourPop, and this is the Twilight Saga collaboration, the New Moon eyeshadow palette. So this is the second time that ColourPop is releasing a collaboration with the Twilight franchise again. Although you're gonna see some Twilight in today's video, I am not the biggest fan of these movies. But that does not even matter because I'm always judging the makeup and not the movie, okay? ColourPop really tried hard. They tried hard, but also I kind of prefer the color story of the first palette because in general, I am more drawn to cool tones than to warm tones. And this is quite a warm tone. This would have been poppin' for the fall time. However, they delivered this in the beginning of this year. So this color story comes with 15 shades in total. 7 of them are matte shades and 8 of them are shimmer shades, but they all have a different kind of texture, a different finish, a different formula. I think this is really pretty. I gotta be honest, I like the color story and I like the quality. I think this is the good ColourPop quality. However, the only thing that I will always critique, and that's why this is not ranking higher up, is the fact that some of these shimmers are just not my thing, I feel like there are 2 of these gel glitters in here, and I think, it's this one, this really, really pretty one, Adrenaline, and I think also Wolfpack. And although I really like them on my eye, it's just so hard to get rid of them. Like, to take them off, you have glitter everywhere. Like, the sparkle is in my hair, the sparkle is just sticking to everything. And it just drives me personally a little bit bananas. So I don't like reaching for them on an everyday basis just because I know, although these are beautiful, they are just such a mess to remove, and to a point where I'm just like, can you guys please stop doing these gel glitter things and create normal, sparkly, smooth, thin shimmers? What is so difficult? I don't understand it. But when they do create a standard shimmer, I feel like they're a little bit lackluster in this palette. Like, I felt like this shade, And yeah, this shade, they were just a little bit like, just a little bit flat on the eye. They did not really give me what I want out of a shimmer. I think they even pulled a little bit more satin, but even when you do a satin shade, I still want that wow effect. And this just didn't give me that. It is what it is. That's all I've got to say to that, but not a bad palette in regards to the price point. Okay, so let's move on to number 17 in the ranking. Again, a little bit of a disappointment here, but it's also by Blampany, and it's the Beauty Below eyeshadow palette. First off, I absolutely love the packaging here. It's so pretty. Like, I really like the concept, and I do understand that this was supposed to be like a dark, vampy, grungy color story and all. So let's have a look inside before I'm telling you what I don't like about this palette. This actually comes with 24 eyeshadows. It comes with 12 matte shades and 12 shimmer shades. And if you look at the palette, they kind of arranged this palette in quads, which I found very interesting, and that's a very new way for Blampany to actually set up their palettes. I think looking at this palette, it looks so stunning. I did create some beautiful, beautiful, stunning looks with this palette. The thing is, it took me a hot minute. I mean, usually, you know, an eyeshadow look takes me, I want to say 20 to 30 minutes. Maybe like 35 minutes top. But when I used this palette, sometimes I was sitting there like 45 to 50 minutes. And it definitely is due to these mattes. I just had a really hard time blending some of these shades out, and I almost felt like some of the shades, some of the matte shades, were a little bit chalkier. And you may also see this in my swatches. Like, I was really surprised by this, but I want to be honest with you. I know that Blampany has an amazing reputation, but I'm gonna like call something out if I don't like something. And I felt like, especially with the blue, with this green, and also with this deeper purple, it was just really difficult to make the blend work. It always looked patchy. It always looked a little bit chalky, and I was really, really surprised by that. Another thing that was problematic about this palette is the fact that they did not include a single light shade in this palette. Now, if you have a deeper skin tone, maybe you're gonna love this palette, right? I don't have a deeper skin tone, so I can't really judge it, you know, like that. I'm judging it as a standalone palette on my skin tone, and I just want to say this is very difficult to work with. So for me, it's always important for an eyeshadow palette to give me that ratio going from light to deep, you know, have a light shade, have a mid-tone shade, have a darker shade, so that I can create a little bit of contrast in my eye look. And this is just, for me personally, more of a companion palette. The shimmers, I mean, some of them are so stunning. My favorite shade in this is definitely this one, Mesmerizing. Oh my gosh. It has this reddish brown base, and it has this beautiful grayish green shimmer in there, and it's just so beautiful. And that was also one of my favorite looks that I've done with this palette. There was something about this that just did not wow me as much as like some of the Blampany palettes that I've tried out in the past. All right, so let's move on to number 16. This is actually a palette from last year. By now, it's already like a year old, but I just only pulled this out this year. So this is by Glamlight, and this is the Betty Boop eyeshadow palette. I've got more Glamlight coming up in today's ranking, but let's have a look at this palette from last year. I mean, this was their Valentine's Day release. We have 15 shades in total. 7 of them are shimmer shades and 8 of them are mattes. This color story is very heavy on the berry side, a little bit of red in there, a little bit of pink. We also have a little bit of a taupe shade in here. I feel like there's a lot of variety when it comes to this color story. I really do think for a Valentine's Day color story, it's quite perfect, right? And the quality of this, top notch. And I was really struggling to rank this one too. I don't think it really deserves to be so low in the ranking. I would not necessarily reach for this all the time. That's the only reason, you know, because I'm not the biggest fan of these berry tones. I will say there are some beautiful, more muted shades in here. Oh, and I have created some beautiful looks with this palette. It's such a beautiful palette, especially this shade right here, and this shade right here, and this shade. Oh my gosh, some of these shimmers are so sparkly, so smooth. I really do love Glamlight's formula when they are at their best. And this is just Glamlite at their best, but it's just, in general, not necessarily my favorite color story in the world. You know, the rest of the eyeshadow palettes in today's ranking, I just preferred them a little bit more, but the quality of this is, it's really, really good. If it would just be for the quality, this would be in my top 10, honestly. But yeah, it's just a little bit of like a color preference thing when it comes to this palette. All right, so let's move on to number 15. So number 15 goes to Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the Beautifying Eye Trance in the colorway Emerald Effect. Now, this was an entire collection that Charlotte Tilbury came out with. She kind of released these more like monochromatic 9-pan eyeshadow palettes, and I did pick up 3 of them. One of them I still have not tried out yet, but the other ones I've tried out. So there was another one coming up in today's ranking. So the very first one is this Emerald Effect one. So let's have a look inside. So this is a 9-pan eyeshadow palette. It does come with 2 mattes and 7 shimmer shades. However, these all have different finishes and different textures. Some of them have a satin finish, others have more of a chrome finish. There are some crystal pops and some diamond dimension finishes in here. I would say this might be my least favorite one, just due to one thing. It's because there are only 2 matte shades in here. And I really wish that they could have added maybe like a minty blue or a minty green sort of like pastel shade in here. Some of these are not as great. Like I feel like the satin ones, like this one, and even this one in the middle, although it's called Crystal Chrome. So even these Crystal Chrome ones are not quite as good as the Crystal Pop or the Diamond Dimension. I really felt like this Diamond Dimension, this one right here, and these two, they are the ones that are quite spectacular, that have a beautiful, shimmery, glimmery shimmer in there. And then the other ones are just a little bit lackluster. They weren't like really bad, but they also did not wow me that much. So I don't think it's a bad formula. I think the formula is really pretty, and I did create some beautiful eye looks with this. But yeah, this colorway, it just wasn't quite as well curated as the other one that I have. This was my number 15, so let's actually move on. So number 14, again, it's a Valentine's Day release, and it's just due to the color story. So this is by Unearthly Cosmetics, and this is the Thinking of You eyeshadow palette. I've got nothing to critique about this formula whatsoever. It's like one of my all-time favorite formulas in the world. So let's have a look inside. This is a 9-pan eyeshadow palette. We have 5 different mattes and we have 4 different shimmers. I love the ratio. I love how this goes from light to deep. My only critique is these are not necessarily the most flattering shades on me, like the tones. Again, a little bit more berry, a little bit warmer. I prefer cool tones, or I mean, I don't mind warm tones, but they have to be very specific warm tones. And I just think that a color story like this one, it's not bad, but it's not my favorite one. And one thing in particular that annoyed me a little bit about this palette was the fact that, although you may not assume that just by looking at this palette, it's really when you start using it is that this shade and this shade, they almost look identical. I really wish that we could have done something different, maybe something peachy, maybe something interesting, like an interesting multi-chrome in this, instead of these, like, I don't know, maybe you can see the shift. They literally almost look identical. However, this shimmer right here, it's incredible. Like, I can see myself dipping into this shade all the time off camera. If I just want a beautiful like shimmer on my lids, oh my gosh, this is so stunning. Let's actually move on to number 13 in the ranking. And number 13 in the ranking is gonna go to Artitude Cosmetics, and this is the Ink and Roses eyeshadow palette. Artitude Cosmetics is a UK-based brand, and I have a lot of their palettes actually, but they have changed their formula ever since I've tried them out for the very first time. I did have their Phoenix palette, their Man-Eater palette. So I recently got some more palettes by them, and this is definitely an updated formula. Look at that. That cover is so pretty, Ink and Roses. This was also, I think, a Valentine's Day release. Again, you know, I've not done a ranking this year thus far, so there are going to be some of these Valentine's Day color stories in today's video. Now, I will say this color story is stunning. This comes with 16 shades in total. 10 of these shades are matte shades and 6 are shimmers with some different finishes. This is so beautiful. It goes from light to mid-tone to deep tones. It's just perfect. You know, the setup of this, amazing. I really seriously thought I would rank this a little bit higher just by looking at it. But some of these shimmer shades are very emollient and you can feel the glitter particle in there just a little bit. So I wish they could be a little bit less creamy, like less wet, you know, a little bit more dry in that sense. And I wish the shimmer particle could be a little bit smoother, like a little bit more finely milled. This shade, beautiful. Beautiful, very sparkly, and it's not quite as emollient. And this one, oh, so beautiful. And I know I've not posted the looks just yet with this eyeshadow palette. Believe me, they're gonna come up. The mattes are fine. They're not like my all-time favorite formula in the world, you know, but I can definitely make them work. I did not have a major issue with any of these shades, so I just wish that some of these special shades could have a little bit of a different formula. So let's move on to the next spot. So number 12 is gonna go to another Unearthly Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. This is the Shadowed Petal eyeshadow palette. Another 9-pan eyeshadow palette by Unearthly Cosmetics again. Love the formula. So this palette comes with 9 eyeshadows. 4 of them are matte shades and 5 of them are shimmer shades. This is a really pretty cool toned dusty mauvey eyeshadow palette. The shimmer shades are also really stunning. When I have a 9-pan eyeshadow color story, I always prefer having 5 mattes and only 4 shimmers. I have to say I really love the addition of this white. This white is really white, and I really think this is a pretty shade right here. I love the one in the middle. This type of like shade, not my favorite one, like these rose golden ones. Otherwise, it's a pretty palette. I just think it's not quite as like, it does not have quite as much variety, you know. That's why it's ranked where it's ranked, but you know, formula is beautiful. I've created some stunning looks with this. But again, maybe not my all-time favorite color story in the world by Unearthly. So let's move on to number 11 in the ranking. And this is also an eyeshadow palette that was released, I want to say, maybe late summer, early fall time of 2024. So this is number 10 and it's gonna go to Adapt Cosmetics, and this is the Unity eyeshadow palette. I honestly do think that this palette might have gotten discontinued already. I'm not sure if it's still available. It's beautiful though. So let's have a look inside. This comes with 15 shades. 5 of them are matte shades and 10 of them are really pretty shimmer shades. Some of them also have a beautiful shift to them. I will say I really love this color story. I always said like some of their mattes weren't that great. Now this time around I had no issue with none of these matte shades. The only thing, if I have to critique one thing about the mattes, they kind of like pull a little bit too similar for my liking. So I felt like, you know, the green was the odd one out in this case. But I wish there could have been maybe like a very dark green or something else, maybe instead of this, because I don't really love these pop-in shades. Nonetheless, I really love the color story and I think these shimmers are stunning. But I felt like this was one of these eyeshadow palettes that I really enjoyed by the brand. Really great quality. Again, the next ones are just the ones that I did prefer a little bit more. So we are going to be entering my top 10. So number 10 is going to go to Cinch Beauty, and this is the Galactic Visitor eyeshadow palette. Cinch Beauty is actually Angelica Nyquist's brand. She's also a fellow content creator on here. And this was the brand's very first eyeshadow palette. Now they have already released a new eyeshadow palette. It looks really stunning, but I think this one is a little bit more up my alley. So let's have a look inside. So this palette comes with 16 shades in total. 10 of them are matte shades and 6 are shimmer shades. This color story is so interesting. It's actually really pretty. A lot of variety in here. I really loved all of the looks that are created with this palette. It's a little bit limited when it comes to the shimmers, but nonetheless, the shimmers that she chose for this palette, beautiful. Everything kind of makes sense. The harmony is really there. And I think this is an amazing first release for a brand. Like, this is really good. And you can tell this was created by somebody who really loves eyeshadow. Do I wish that there could have been maybe another mid-tone shade? Yes. I personally did not need this light shade and this light shade. Like, one of them would have been enough. Otherwise, everything is good. The only reason why I ranked this number 10 and not even higher up, because honestly, this color story really speaks to me, is the fact that I feel like this is not my all-time favorite formula. It's not a bad formula. I was able to make it work. The mattes were not quite as pigmented as I thought that they would be. They are more buildable. They did require a little bit more blending, but the shimmer shades, you know, I don't know what it is about these shimmers. I felt like they are very, very creamy. And every time I would apply these shimmers, I immediately knew that they would crease on me, on my eyelids, you know. It can happen with shimmers that are thin and creamy because these are not thick and textured and chunky. They are beautiful actually, but they are just a little bit too creamy, so I almost wish that they could have been a little bit drier. But that's just me, that's just my feedback. Otherwise, I would have ranked this even higher. But it ended up where it ended up, and I think number 10 spot is well deserved. Okay, so let's move on to number 9 in the ranking. Number 9 is gonna go to Odin's Eye, and this is the Love Language palette in collaboration with Morgan Turner. I mean, I have loved Odin's Eye so much. I do have a lot of their eyeshadow palettes. Their recent releases had the addition of this weird sticky formula, shimmer formula. And I just was so worried that they would continue on that path. And I'm so glad they did not do that for this palette, because this is the really good Odin's Eye formula that I appreciate and love. This was also a Valentine's Day release. However, it was released on Valentine's Day. And I always feel like if you do create a Valentine's Day palette, just make sure to release it a little bit earlier so that people can get their hands on for Valentine's Day. However, it's not a biggie because I feel like this color story can be worn also during the springtime or for whenever. It's quite a versatile color story. So let's have a look inside. This comes with 16 shades in total. 7 of them are matte shades and 9 of them are shimmer shades with different finishes, different textures. Some of them also have a little bit of a shift to them. The color story really unites some neutral shades with some pinky tones and with some dusty lilac-y shades. I do love the bottom part of this palette so much. That's such a me color story right here. I just think like this quad right here, especially these 3 shades, are not my favorite ones. Especially this hot pink and this one, maybe not so much my thing, but I do get it. It's a Valentine's Day palette, so of course you had to include some of these pinky shades. I completely understand. This eggshell satin white, it's so beaming in your inner corner. It's really pretty. I really love how this is going from light to mid-toned to dark. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful, stunning palette. There are just some minor things that I would have tweaked around if this would have been my palette, but it's not. It's Morgan's palette. And I think she did a great job with this eyeshadow palette. And Odin's Eye, beautiful formula. All right, so let's move on. And number 8 is gonna go to Fantasy Cosmetica, and this is the Monk eyeshadow palette. Now, this is a palette that I actually only started using last week, and I have not posted my looks just yet. I know, but they're gonna come up. But let me tell you, Fantasy Cosmetica, amazing formula. This is such an interesting color story. I don't think I have a palette quite like this. This is quite unique. A warm color story like this is not necessarily my cup of tea, but for some reason, all of the looks that I've created with this palette looked incredible. So let's have a look inside. This is a 9-pan eyeshadow palette. We do have 5 matte shades and 4 spectacular shimmer shades. They are beaming. I mean, look at this shade, Flurry. Flurry, this shade is my favorite one out of this palette. It's so pretty. It has this beautiful peachy base and then these baby bluish shimmer particles in there. And it looks wet on my eyelids. Like, this formula, beautiful. Incredible. Now, if this would have been my palette, I don't think I would have added this pukey, murky, mustardy, yellowy shade, you know. Maybe I would have added like a neon, bright, flashy yellow shade, like super bright, or even like a pastel shade, like something even lighter, because the lighter shades, this one and this one right here, they are lighter midtones. They're not like really light shades. Otherwise, I think it's done really well. We definitely do have this deeper brown to deepen everything up, and I think that's really clever. And I think this is really, for me, a beautiful summer eyeshadow palette. Like if I would have to put a stamp on this with a season, it would be summer all the way through. I really have enjoyed the quality and everything about it. So Fantasy Cosmetica, really, really well done. The next palettes, I just preferred them a little bit more. And number 7 is gonna go to Glamlight, and this is the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1 Team Edward eyeshadow palette. Colourpop started the craze, and Glamlight is continuing the craze. As I said, I'm not the biggest Twilight fan, but I love Robert Pattinson. Oh man, Robert Pattinson, he is such an amazing actor. I love him. I did not like him in Twilight, though. I did not think that was his best performance. But we're here to rank the palette, not the performance. I really do feel like that this palette took me by surprise. In the beginning, I did not even want to pick this one up. I did not want to pick it up because I thought this is a color story that I have seen from last year over and over and over again. So many brands and even Glamlight, right, were like pushing out these color stories. So I was a little bit reluctant in the beginning, but I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna try it. I'm just gonna try it. Why not? Let's see, because I really do like Glamlight's formula. Now this comes with 15 shades in total. 7 of them are matte shades, and 8 of them are stunning shimmer shades. Usually, I'm not the biggest fan, you know, of these darker shimmer shades, but for some reason these look stunning. This one, the red, the matte one, it does pull quite berry on me. That happens all the time. And also the gray does pull steel blue on me, but I'm not too mad at it because I've got to admit, the looks that I've created with this eyeshadow palette were beautiful, stunning. And also, I love the fact that this has some lighter shades and that these deep shades don't pull quite as deep as they look like in the pan. They are more buildable, but they are also blendable, and they work if they're not built up to their full potential. So I really created some beautiful, stunning looks, and I did not expect that. And I underestimated this color story so much just by looking at it. But there are some beautiful, beautiful sparkly shades in here. I love the shade Vegetarian. I love the shade Century. And I also love the shade Diamond. So I had a really good time with this. I also really love these cool tones. I like a good cool tone purple. I honestly love a gray. I love a steel blue. I don't necessarily love a red or a berry that much. I mean, I can deal with it, but not my favorite one. But everything else in this palette, stunning. All right, so let's move on to number 6 in my ranking. And number 6 in my ranking is gonna go to Nomad Cosmetics, and this is the Fairy Tale Europe eyeshadow palette. You guys know that Nomad Cosmetics is one of my all-time favorite eyeshadow brands. I also do have a code with them. It's gonna give you 10% off of your purchase. This is the only palette that was gifted to me in this entire ranking. I was not obliged to talk about this. I was not even obliged to like post this whatsoever. But because I love Nomad Cosmetics so much and I was just so lucky that they gifted me this palette, you know, of course I did create an entire video on this. So if you want to see an in-depth review with 2 looks, I do have a long format video on this palette on my channel. I also added a bonus look as a short video on my shorts tab. Here is the palette. This is beautiful. This outer packaging, this is quite a unique setup for this brand. This is quite a shimmer heavy palette. We do have 18 shades in total. 6 of them are matte shades and 12 of them are beautiful shimmer shades with different finishes. Some of them also have a little bit of a multi-chrome reflect in there. This is like a shimmer heavy palette done right. Now, if they would have included maybe a pop of color, like maybe like a mint or like a lilac, something like light, like just for a pop of color in terms of the matte shades, maybe I would have ranked this even higher up. But I think, you know, I can get who this is for. This is for an audience that really just loves like a neutral base and then likes a pop of like shimmer. I think the neutral tones that they chose for the mattes are stunning. There might be a couple of shades that I'm not too crazy about, like I don't love a warm gold like this. I will never use this. Then also it's a little bit heavy on the pink side. I feel like these 3 shades are all pink, like maybe we could have done something else than this one. However, I love this. This is so sparkly. It's like so wet looking on the eyes. And this shade, oh my gosh, what is this called again? Prince Charming. This is exactly the type of gold that I love. This is actually a multi-chrome, and it has almost like some silver in there, some peach in there, and a little bit of like green in there. It's just such an interesting shade. I don't have anything like that. And all of these other shades were beautiful. I also love this shade right here. What was this called? Sleeping Beauty. Beautiful. And also these shimmers are sparkly, intense, smooth. They don't crease. They are amazing. So if you are a beginner in makeup, I think this might be a perfect palette for you to try out. All right, so let's move on to my top 5 in the ranking. Honestly, all of these palettes are amazing. They are so, so, so good. I really had a little bit of a headache here, but you know, I did make up my mind. So number 5 is gonna go to Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the Beautifying Eye Trance in the colorway Super Neutral. This was the first palette that I purchased out of this collection. As I said, as I mentioned, I do have 3, and I only have 2 in this ranking, just due to the fact that I have not tried out, I think it's called Central Sunset. That one I've not tried out just yet. This was the first one that I've tried out, and it was also the very first time ever that I tried out Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadows. I never owned any of her eyeshadow palettes, but this one, I had to have this. I mean, you know, if you know me, you know that I love a beautiful, cool tone, taupey color story. It's my favorite one. It's one of my favorite color stories. So let's have a look at this beautiful 9-pan eyeshadow palette. So we do have 6 matte shades, and we have 3 of these absolutely stunning shimmer shades. We do have the Diamond Dimension finish and the Crystal Chrome finish, and I think these 2 finishes are just the best one. They look wet on your eyelids. Now, a lot of people had a lot to say about this packaging. Honestly, I don't mind. Now, for the price point, I feel like they could have included maybe a mirror or something else. I'm not too mad because this is beautiful. Now, the only thing I've got to say is I wish that we could have had another midtone in here, because this is quite deep, this is quite deep, and this is quite deep. I wish maybe one of these 2 could have been a little bit lighter. It does not look like that, but on my eyes does pull quite deep. So that's the only thing I have to critique. Otherwise, I love this setup. The mattes might not be my favorite ones in the world. I really feel like if you build up a deeper shade on top of a midtone, you have to blend this a little bit. At the end of the day, my looks turned out stunning, and these shimmers, the shimmers were out of this world. And I can see myself also reaching for this a lot. That's why it's ranked quite high up. And maybe you did not expect this to be ranked that high up, but I really, really love it. So let's move on to my number 4 spot. And number 4 is gonna go to another one of these 9-pan eyeshadow palettes by Unearthly Cosmetics. This is the Murky Meadow eyeshadow palette. In all honesty, I did not think that out of the 3 9-pan eyeshadow palettes that are featured in this ranking by Unearthly Cosmetics, this would be my favorite one. But it is. This is quite unexpected for me personally, because usually this is not the type of color story that I'm vibing with the most. But I've got to admit, for some whatever reason, I love this. I love this. All of my looks turned out so stunning. So again, this comes with 9 shades in total. We have 5 mattes and 4 beautiful, reflective, shifty shimmer shades. The sparkle is incredible. I really love the color selection here, and I love this flashy yellow. I also love the fact that this goes from light to lighter midtone to deep. Again, beautiful setup. I love the fact that we have one more matte than shimmer, and all of these shimmer shades were spectacular. I really liked this one. Dreaded Dew. That was such a pretty shade. This is almost a color story that gives me a little bit like late summer into fall sort of vibes. So I can really see myself reaching for this in the upcoming months, and I really have to say I love it. I hope they're gonna come out with another like bigger palette, like an 18 palette, or was it 20 colors? I think it was 18. Yeah, I just love their formula so much. Let's move on to my top 3. So number 3 goes to Adapt Cosmetics, and this is the Minka eyeshadow palette. Ever since this palette was released, they also released a new palette called Emo eyeshadow palette. I did not pick that one up just yet because I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit similar to the one that I have, the makeup palette right here. This is also the very first time that they have changed their packaging. They went from like a really luxurious cardboard packaging to this plastic packaging. I got to admit, I kind of preferred the packaging before. I mean, I'm not mad at this, but it's kind of like basic, and it's also giving Natasha Denona vibes. It's a little bit more sturdy, maybe. I don't know, but I think it's less creative than what they had before. But that's just me. But this color story and the quality of this palette, wow. Wow, 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 wow. I mean, it's a little bit on the pricier side, but this was worth it. This was worth it. This color story is such a me color story. We have 5 mattes and we have 10 beautiful multi-chromes with different finishes. Not all of them are multi-chrome. Some of them are also intensely sparkly shimmers. And yeah, this palette has 15 shades in total. That's the usual sort of ratio in terms of matte and shimmer shades that Adapt always does. And I feel like they definitely improved their matte shades. I just used one shade, and I think it was Eleanor, that gave me a little bit more like old Adapt matte formula vibes. Everything else was so easy to work with, blend out like a dream. So I definitely saw an improvement, because that was always something that I did almost like critique a little bit about Adapt, was that I did not really love their matte formula. But I feel like they are on the right path, and if they are continuing to go this way, my gosh. But yeah, let me just tell you, this is such a beautiful palette. Some of these shades were insane. Like Mia, beautiful. Sandra, stunning. Joshua, that was such a, oh my God, that was such a beautiful shade. And also, what was it? Elisa. Oh, beautiful. Just so incredible. And I love these dusty, purpley, browny shades. You guys know me. I love a good cool tone palette, but it has to be something special. And this is definitely special. It's so special. I loved it. Really, really loved this palette. I think this is one of my favorite ones by the brand thus far. It's really, really, really good. But all right, so let's move on to my number 2. My number 2 is gonna go to Glamlight, and this is the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1 Team Jacob eyeshadow palette. So this is the other palette that Glamlight released with their Twilight collaboration. You already saw the Team Edward palette, so this is the Team Jacob palette. I mean, I couldn't care less about Taylor Lautner, I gotta admit that, okay? I'm more of a Robert Pattinson fan. I do prefer this color story a little bit more over the Team Edward eyeshadow palette, because this is so versatile, and I can see myself reaching for this over and over and over again. So this palette has 15 shades in total. It comes with 8 mattes and 7 shimmers. And this color story is a dream of cool-toned, earthy neutrals. The tones in this, that's what makes this palette so special. These shimmers, stunning. The formula, amazing. Absolutely incredible. I mean, we also have the addition of some warmer tones, like this copper right here, this shade right here, and also this one right here. I feel like these are a little bit warmer tones in this palette without being over the top warm. I feel like they just look so good on my eyes. And some of these shimmers are just so beautiful. Like this shade right here, Shapeshifter, Moody, Imprint, Jacob, Wolf, all of them, all of these shimmer shades are amazing. And I also love the fact that we have some of these beautiful light toned shades in here. We have these mid-tones, we have these darker shades. These are buildable, they are smooth, they are buttery. I mean, their formula is just incredible. And also, I forgot to mention this to you, but I'm actually wearing the Lord of the Rings eyeshadow palette on my eyes. I do have an entire video on this entire collection. I reviewed the entire collection because I am such a huge, huge fan of the Lord of the Rings. But it's not going to be in today's video because I'm still like playing around with this behind the scenes a little bit more, okay? But I just want to say that Glamlight has been killing it recently, and yeah, I can just see myself reaching for this so much in my everyday life because I love these tones. But my number 1, you guys, I knew I would rank this number 1. This is just such a beautiful eyeshadow palette. When I got this, I was blown away. So my number 1 is gonna go to Cosmic Beauty, and this is the Lovers eyeshadow palette. This was also a Valentine's Day release, but I honestly feel like you can use this palette whenever. It is so versatile. It is giving me so many different vibes. This might be my new favorite one from the brand. It might be my new favorite one. I also love the Muse eyeshadow palette. They are currently discontinuing that palette. So if you still want that, maybe grab it now before it's gone forever. And I also love the Neutrals eyeshadow palette by them. But I think this might be my new favorite eyeshadow palette. It's so beautiful. So this comes with 20 shades in total. 12 of them are matte shades, and we have 8 shimmer shades. We also have a multi-chrome in here. The quality here is just outstanding. Sometimes Cosmic Beauty has one of these shimmer shades that is a little bit harder pressed, but not in this palette. I feel like this palette is where it's at. This is quality-wise exceptional. And also when you're looking at this, you can see that this palette has a little bit of a division going on in 2 parts. I mean, we have these 2 columns. This is like the muted pinks with a little bit of peachy brown in here, a little bit of copper here, and then you have these green, minty, blue, silvery shades. And I just love the undertones of these shades. They look so flattering on my skin tone. And the ratio is really there, you know, going from light to deep, having some beautiful midtones, having beautiful shimmers that actually do make sense, that you can actually combine. I just had such a good time with this, and I love reaching for this. And by the way, this multi-chrome is insane. I also really love the formula. I've had like these mattes were buttery, silky, buildable, beautiful, pigmented, just not too pigmented though, right? But still buildable, but you can get such great color payoff with this palette. So that's why I ranked this one number 1. That was it for my very first ranking for this year. Let me know if you have tried out any of these eyeshadow palettes down in my comment section. I'm always looking forward to hearing from you guys. And if you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and also ring the bell in order to get notified about my upcoming videos. And just stay tuned on here. There's going to be more eyeshadow looks coming very soon. So until next time, please do take care. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.